Hi, I'm Nick Shell, and on this YouTube channel I have here, I create characters that serve as parodies to deliver coded messages for those who are in the know. And one of my characters is called Naughty Nick. And Naughty Nick, I created that character to basically make us question what modern masculinity actually looks like. And if you've seen those videos with Naughty Nick, what you'll see is basically it's a throwback to 1980s WWE wrestlers is what it is. It's so over masculine that it's just ridiculous. And in the real world, a guy like that wouldn't actually function. He wouldn't. And that's part of the whole point of why I make those videos, to remind people of that. And I think when I look at the subscribership, the viewership of these videos, what we're seeing is we're seeing guys who are worried about their hair because they're tying that to being attractive, when in reality, if anything, hair is not a physical trait that men are known for, especially when it comes to masculinity. If the more masculine look is to not have hair, and of course to fully embrace it and shave it all off. That's the most masculine look you can have if you're going to have hair. So it's interesting. I like to kind of dig deep a little bit on this, and I want to share two comments I got on a video I made called "Consistent Definition of Masculinity: Leadership Qualities versus Outdated Alpha Male Concepts." I want to start with Maxwell Smart. Quote, "I thought of something yesterday that you may want to think about for the definition of masculinity. In today's definition, is it the same as yours as it is mine? I came to the conclusion that it has evolved, and in doing so, it has become more effeminate," which I agree. "There are many more aspects that were feminine characteristics which are now part of the masculine picture. For some men, they are not relevant, and for others, they're very important. It's just an idea. Feminism has changed femininity," did I say that right? "And I wonder if something similar is happening to masculinity. What do you think?" And quote, yes, absolutely. I mean, as I've pointed out before in my videos about masculinity, that if we're still subscribing to this caveman, meat and potatoes, football, someone who's so masculine, then, and he's so aggressive and he always gets his way, but no, he's not going to function in the office. He's not going to function in a marriage, because you have to be good at communicating. And if it's all about you all the time and demanding your way, so alpha male, then you're just irrelevant. So you, in some ways, in that degree, we could say, well, masculinity has become feminized to some degree because now we're better communicators. And we understand sometimes you have to play the beta male to get what you want as an alpha male. And that's one of the things that I fully embrace here on this channel. Okay, so now let's take it to another comment from another good friend, Shyman99. Here's something he said, quote, "I can't disagree with what you said, but I know feminists who would not approve of statements like men are expected to be leaders and women aren't, or women are not decisive but men are," because those are the things I said in that video. "Ironically, your discussion about the old concept of alpha male being no longer relevant led to you and your new definition of the alpha male, which is now under assault for being sexist, chauvinistic, and outdated as well. Which leads us back to the comment I made in an earlier video, which I said that there is an assault on masculinity," which, by the way, I totally agree on that too. "Just a few days ago, a female Democratic U.S. Senator publicly stated, quote, 'All men need to shut up,' end quote. What would have happened if a male U.S. Senator made such a statement about women? All definitions of masculinity are now under siege." I can agree. "That has contributed to men being anxious and confused today," which is why I made that parody video wearing lipstick talking about how masculine I was. That was to prove a point. So many parody videos I make, but it's fun. So that was the comment that he left. And I think there's so much truth in what he said there. I think there's definitely, going back to what Max said about the concept of masculinity changing and ultimately becoming more feminine. Here's something I've recognized. I want to tell you a story. This takes place about 30 years ago. My sister, who's younger than me, here's the best version of the story I can remember. I had a transformer. She had a doll, and we were playing when TV was on. It was like a Tuesday night. And she wanted to play with my transformer that's very clearly boy toy. And to which my mom, I guess, said, "Here, Jack, that's my son's name. Nick, let your sister play with that toy." To which I, as a boy, 7-year-old, 6-year-old, I said, "Well, if she's gonna get to play with my transformer, then I'm gonna play with her Cabbage Patch doll." So I reached for her Cabbage Patch doll as she had my transformer, to which my dad said, "No, boys don't have dolls because that would make you a sissy." I said, "Yeah, but then why can she have?" And he said, "Well, that's because girls can be tomboys and it's okay, but boys, you become a sissy. It doesn't work both ways." Now, what I just said, I understand is very politically incorrect, and I couldn't put that in Twitter. I understand that, but we need to explore that because that's still relevant today. As a man, if you do certain things that are considered too feminine, then it's assumed that you're gay. There, I said it. But if you're a girl and you do certain things that are excessively masculine, that's women power. Go girl, you go girl. And it's not necessarily that she's a lesbian. So, and when it comes to leadership, it's almost like a choice. Okay? If you want to be a very decisive woman who has leadership skills, I'll vote for you if you politically believe what I'm all for women being in leadership. I'm all for it. I actually consider myself a feminist. I actually do. I'm not joking. I think that women should be allowed to do anything that a man can do if they want to. But see, that's the double standard we're talking about. For the woman, it's if she wants to do it, she can do anything. Men, they're kind of expected to do certain things like be decisive and be in leadership. And if they're not decisive, if they're not climbing the corporate ladder or doing something like that, then they're seen as what? Lazy and not motivated. So yeah, I think that goes back to reinforce the concept of the assault on masculinity. And it's especially confusing, which in the same story like I told with boys can't play with the doll or whatever. If guys do things that are considered too feminine, then it's just assumed that they're gay. There's no in between, right? And that's getting murky. It's a gray area. But then women, girl power, whatever she wants to do, as long as she wants to do it. But she's not expected to do it like men are still expected to do so many things. So I think this is a very interesting topic. I love talking about it. So what do you have to add to that? What do you want to say about that? I know that I've said some things in this video that if outside of this, like taken out of context, put on Twitter, oh man, that would be toxic. That would be so horrible to say such things that I've said. But I'm willing to have an honest conversation about it, And at the same time, I'm not here to imply anything negative against gay men. A lot of gay men watch my videos, and I'm very glad that you're here. And I think that's a whole other discussion as far as gay men and masculinity. I watched a documentary on Netflix. I don't know if it's on there now, but it's called "Do I Sound Gay?" And in this documentary, he was talking about how most men have effeminate ways that they carry themselves. And the attraction, a lot of those men are attracted to men who carry themselves more masculine. So to be a more masculine gay man is kind of the ideal standard. And they themselves want to find ways to try to become that way themselves so that they become more attractive in gay culture. So yeah, I learned a lot from that documentary. And I think it's definitely interesting now that gay men are much more accepted in society. I'm not saying they don't have struggles, but in general, they're more accepted than before. And so that only makes it that much more complicated as far as what masculinity is for straight men. And at the same time, I can't even try to understand what it's like if you're a gay man and understanding, well, you still want to identify as a masculine guy who doesn't have what's called the gay lisp, which again, I'm not making fun. It's in the documentary called "Do I Sound Gay?", in which a gay man talks about it openly, that gay men typically have a certain kind of lisp that happens that is similar to the way that women talk. For example, when men ask a question, "Hey, are you going to go get that over there?" Even if you ask a question as a guy, you typically are coming down in your tone. But if you're a woman, you're coming up, "Hey, where do you think we're going to go?" And so even in your tones, gay men tend to, even ask questions, they're still rising. But masculine men tend to almost like they're stating something even when they're asking questions. So yeah, I think it's very fascinating. I think it's very interesting. let's take it from here. Let's see where this goes in the comment section. Masculinity definitely is under attack. It's definitely more confusing of a concept, and it doesn't help that while I fully endorse women doing anything, they're not expected to do certain things in the way that men ultimately always will be. If a woman does it, go girl. If a man does it, if he doesn't do something, then he's lazy. Comments right here.